Kobe Bryant as an LA Laker just made sense. The $1 million smile and someone who understood the franchise's gold standard. So much so that he has 2 jersey numbers retired, 8 and 24, representing 2 separate chapters of one extraordinary career. But landing in LA took numerous twists and turns, including a tentative trade that lasted for 2 weeks, so stressful that it hospitalized the man orchestrating it. This is the story, how one of the NBA's greatest players became a Laker before becoming a Los Angeles icon. Kobe Bean Bryant was born in Philadelphia in 1978, the son of Joe Jellybean Bryant, an NBA journeyman who played 8 seasons before taking his family to Italy to continue his career.
Il figlio di Joe e devo dire che è un fenomeno. Chi l'ha visto veramente giocare dice praticamente che ha delle doti incredibili. Sei davvero così, Kobe?
Sì. Sì.
Quindi non smentisci, sei un grande giocatore. Diciamo
abbastanza.
Che abbastanza. Per la tua età, diciamo, insomma, stai facendo delle grosse cose. Sei consapevole che potresti diventare un grande giocatore professionista come tuo papà?
Speriamo.
Tu ci conti molto?
Sì.
Kobe grew up immersed in Italian culture, developing his game on European courts before the family returned to the United States. Back in the Philly suburbs at Lower Merion High School, it quickly became clear that this was no ordinary teenager. By his senior year in 1996, he was widely regarded as the nation's best player. And while he was a very good student, he was strongly considering doing what only a handful of guys had ever done, and no perimeter player: skip college and go straight to the NBA.
Kobe Bryant have decided to take my talent to I have decided to skip college and take my talent to the NBA.
Bold, brash, and unbothered, the worldly kid from Philly was going pro. But where? The hometown 76ers actually held the #1 overall pick. But that wasn't happening. After all, it was considered a very good draft with Georgetown star Allen Iverson at the top. One of the most important moments in Kobe's entire career was hiring the right agent, Arn Tellem, who had the necessary connections to help orchestrate a vision and plan. That started with a phone call to Lakers general manager Jerry West. Here's an emotional West on the day of Bryant's funeral.
We were having a workout, and his agent, Arn Tellem, and I have been longtime friends. And he said, he wants to come and work out with some of these players that were going to be higher taken in a draft, everyone thought. And I watched this, 17 years old, and I said to myself, this is ridiculous.
The Lakers held the 24th overall pick, and Kobe had no chance of falling that far in the draft. But Tellem and Kobe were determined to make LA work.
So Kobe wanted to come back again and work out for us, and so Arn called me and said he's been in town here and he wants to work out. So I brought Michael Cooper in, and I think some of you people know who Michael Cooper is, one of the great defenders we've had in our league. And so we wanted him to play around with Kobe Bryant and see what it looked like. Well, after 10 minutes, I said, stop this, okay? He was embarrassing Michael.
Cooper was an assistant coach at the time, but only a few years removed from a Hall of Fame career as an elite defender.
Other than playing, one of the hardest things I've ever done. A young Kobe, and there was some certain things that, they wanted him to work off pick and rolls, they wanted him to get to the elbow, they wanted him to post up, that I had to kind of take that away. He was strong, man. I was working him down that low post, and he was not able, I couldn't push him out of there too much, but then again, he had that athleticism where he jumped over his top. But he always, Jerry said, I need you to get to the elbow. and he started him over here. And with 4 or 5 dribbles, Kobe was able to maneuver himself and get to that shot. He didn't hit every one, but he got to a spot. And after that, I remember after that workout, I had never sweated that hard in my life. And once that workout was over with, Jerry goes, "Coop, you okay?" I said, "Yeah, I'm fine, man." He goes, "He's our kid. That's our pit." And they knew it. They knew it, and this kid here, man, Kobe could play.
West himself had a Hall of Fame playing career, and he was widely considered a shrewd GM, one of the best in the league. He knew talent when he saw it, and the wheels started spinning.
He was just simply the most gifted player that we had ever worked out, not even close. And I think that time it wasn't in vogue to draft young players of that age, unless they were taller, because everyone then was looking for taller, bigger players. But just watching him, it was pretty easy to see that there was no one more skilled than him at 17 years of age. I mean, he was like someone, he had this insatiable desire to get better, even then.
Now, other teams also recognized the talent and upside, but perhaps only West had the job security to roll the dice. The Celtics held the 6th overall pick after trading up from 9th, because this draft was considered to have 6 can't-miss prospects, all from college. But Boston was incredibly impressed with Kobe's workout. Kobe grew up a Laker fan, but still donned the Celtics gear and was even worked out by Boston assistant and Hall of Famer Dennis Johnson. Kobe speaking to ESPN. "Dude, that was the freakiest S I've ever done. I don't know if it's the mythology of the Celtic green or whatever, but they bring out the practice gear and you open it up and the shorts are there and it's like the green glows. It's like a different kind of green." General Manager Jan Volk. "If you closed your eyes and thought a little bit, you might have thought you were watching Michael Jordan. He did everything well, beyond well. He was exceptional in everything that he did." And then we commented, as I recall, on how reminiscent he was of Michael. Legendary Boston executive Red Auerbach, in an advisory role, speaking to head coach and executive VP ML Carr. "I think this kid is going to be a hell of a player, but it can go either way. He seems to be solid, but he's a high school kid. You've got to make a choice based on what you need today. But I think he's a hell of a player." ML Carr. "I don't like to say a lot of good things about the Lakers, but I am absolutely telling you this straight up. He was unbelievable in the interview. He was the best interview that I've ever been a part of. Kobe knew the league as well as anyone." The Celtics ultimately drafted Antoine Walker, one of those 6 can't-miss prospects. But perhaps they would have rolled the dice at number 9 if they never traded up. At number 7, another LA team, the Clippers, and Kobe naturally also shined there.
I had a really good workout with the Clippers, and they told me, they said, this is the best workout we ever seen. So I'm like, oh man, I'm excited. I'm gonna come to LA. I said, all right, so you're gonna draft me? No.
No. That's what makes them the Clippers.
Well, I asked them why. I said, listen, for me, as a kid in Philadelphia, you've had like the horrible winters. I'm excited to come out to LA, and palm trees and all that, right? So I asked them why wouldn't they draft me? They said, well, we want to turn things around with our organization. And we felt like if we drafted the 17-year-old kid, then the city of Los Angeles wouldn't take us seriously. And so they said, we can't draft you.
At the time, the league had no reference point of a success story for a kid straight out of high school. And optics do matter for certain franchises. At number 8, the Brooklyn Nets. And they held multiple workouts and were smitten with Kobe. However, the Nets had a brand new NBA coach, John Calipari, who was hired away from UMass and also in charge of all personnel decisions. Longtime sports writer Jeff Pearlman later wrote a book on that Lakers dynasty and shared this backdrop.
The Lakers reach out to the Nets and they say, we will give you Vlade Divac, our center, a really good center, a top shelf center for the 8th pick in the draft. And the Nets are like, no, we don't want Vlade Divac. We're not at a point where we need a veteran center. We need an infusion of young talent. So Jerry West is frustrated. And what happens is Arn Tellem, Kobe's agent, comes up with an idea. He basically calls John Nash, the GM of the Nets, and he calls John Calipari, the coach of the Nets, and he says to these two guys, Kobe doesn't want to play with you. Kobe will not sign with you. Kobe wants to be away from his parents. Now, it's funny because a couple days before this call, John Calipari and John Nash had dinner with Kobe Bryant's parents, Joe and Pam Bryant, and they said, we'd love Kobe to play in New Jersey. But now they're getting a call from the agent. He's like, Kobe doesn't want to play for you guys. He won't sign with you. He'll play in Europe instead. And John Nash, veteran general manager, he's in his 40s at the time, he says to Cal, this is bullshit. They're just bluffing. They're just bluffing. This is ridiculous. And Calipari is like, I don't know. I can't have my first draft pick not sign with us. And John Nash is like, Cal, there's no way he's not going to play in the NBA. You think this 18-year-old kid is going to go to Europe? And Cal's like, I can't deal with this. I can't deal with this.
Kobe, I don't mean to call out anybody on our set named John Calipari, but I'm going to. He was head coach of the New Jersey Nets when he had an opportunity to draft Kobe Bryant. Do you remember who he selected instead?
Gary Kittles.
Now, how many times did I have you up into New Jersey?
About 3 times.
3 times with your family. I'd still be coaching, by the way, in the NBA if I had you.
We will never truly know which teams were legitimately close to drafting Kobe, but we do know that Jerry West wanted him, and he also wanted Shaquille O'Neal, who was set to become a free agent that summer. West eventually worked his magic to pry Shaq away from Orlando, all while moving the necessary chess pieces to create salary cap space. West gambled that he could get Shaq when free agency began, so he reached an agreement to trade starting center Vlade Divac to the Charlotte Hornets, who held the 13th overall pick. The pieces were in place for West, but nothing could be officially announced. June 26, 1996, draft night, ironically at the Meadowlands, home of the New Jersey Nets. This draft class was loaded. Allen Iverson, Ray Allen, Steve Nash, 4 future Hall of Famers in the lottery alone. Kobe, though, was a giant unknown, straight out of high school.
Can't believe I'm actually about to share this right now. I remember waking up in the morning and going, oh, shit, I have a pimple on my nose, right in the middle of my nose. And I was like, are you serious? I've been waiting my entire life of whatever, 17 years for this moment. And I'm going through the entire day not thinking about where I'm going or the moment of being drafted because I'm worried about getting this damn pimple off my nose.
The Celtics, Clippers, and Nets all passed on Kobe before 4 forgettable big men were selected in a row, putting Charlotte on the clock at number 13.
With the 13th pick in the 1996 NBA Draft, the Charlotte Hornets select Kobe Bryant from Lower Merion High School in Pennsylvania.
His dad, Joe Jellybean Bryant, was the 14th pick when he was selected. Kobe, number 13. Let's go to Greg Sager.
Well, Kobe, your dad can tell you about the NBA. You can watch every playoff game on TV. But until you go through the workouts, experience yourself, you don't get that firsthand. What was it like for the tryouts? What did you learn?
Well, I learned that you have to work hard and you have to approach the game with a serious mindset. There's a step up from high school, and I understand that. So therefore, every time I step on a basketball court, I'm going to put a strong effort out there on the floor. I'm not going to leave anything on the floor.
You had the grades, you had the scores to go to college. Why the NBA?
It's the ultimate challenge. You know, if I was 40 years old and I'm sitting back and I'm looking back at my career, if I went to college and played on the NBA, maybe I had a great career, maybe not, and I'm still having that doubt in my mind, could I have answered that challenge? Could I have responded to the challenge of the NBA? And that's something that I didn't want to have on my shoulders, so I just really accepted it.
A year ago, is Kevin Garnett sitting where you are. Have you talked to him? What advice has he given you?
Well, he's talked to me. He's told me a lot of stories, a lot of experiences that he was going through. But all in all, he said it has to be your own decision. You know, he said that he can give me a lot of pros and cons, but ultimately it has to be my decision.
Well, here's a copy of The Sting, the official book of the Charlotte Hornets with your new coach, Dave Cowens, on the cover. Do your homework before you show up at the Hive.
Thank you very much. I'll make sure I will.
Congratulations, Ernie.
Kobe played it straight regarding the Hornets, although he knew behind the scenes a trade was in the works. And moments later, he spoke to Charlotte's Bob Bass.
So I get on the phone with the Charlotte GM, and he just tells me, hey, you know what's going on? Like, yeah. And you got media in front of you and all that. And he goes, well, it's a good thing we're trading you because we couldn't have used you anyway. I was already triggered.
This rumored trade actually lasted for 2 weeks, but Jerry West was still giddy.
Right when I was signing, he said, let me tell you something. I'm about to get this young kid from high school. We did a deal with Charlotte. We're going to move Vlade, a kid named Kobe Bryant, and y'all going to win championships.
The trade was contingent on Divac suiting up for the Hornets, who now saw themselves as an Eastern Conference contender. However, Divac threatened to retire rather than leave Los Angeles. He had spent years putting down roots in that city. The fans loved him, and he loved them back. He didn't want to go to Charlotte. And if he didn't go, no Kobe in LA.
My agent called me and told me that I was traded. I felt like, somebody was behind me with the baseball bat and hit me so hard here, I couldn't move. And I wasn't happy, obviously. I loved LA, I loved the Lakers organization. It was really a family to me.
For 2 weeks, the entire deal hung in the balance. The stress of it all actually sent West into the hospital. Eventually, Divac relented. The trade was completed.
Time goes by, and I would trade myself for Kobe. And I'll trade the entire team for Kobe.
Did you ever feel sorry for Charlotte?
Well, I think we all have favorite players in the draft, and to me, he was a pretty easy selection. I thought he was the best player in the draft, to be honest with you.
And Mr. West had told me that he wanted to draft me, and he wanted to work out a trade, get me in Los Angeles, but you never want to get too excited before it actually happens.
And what's it like when it really is the fulfillment of a dream that you have been thinking of since you were a little kid?
You can't describe it. You can't put it into words. And there's not one particular feeling that you have. But your body sometimes just goes numb and you think about all the hard work that you put yourself through to get to that point.
West hadn't just acquired a teenager. He had laid the foundation for a dynasty. The 2-week hospital stay couldn't derail him, as he brought both Shaq and Kobe to LA. Kobe arrived at the Forum for his introductory press conference, 17 years old, and showing signs of the kid who grew up a Lakers fan.
I used to envision myself, in the hallways at the house, knocking down lamps and, creating all kinds of chaos in the house, thinking that I'm Magic Johnson. And it's just like a dream come true.
Del Harris, his new head coach, understood the magnitude of the situation.
Believe me, we're not going to be able to keep this guy under wraps or under cover. His ability will shine through, and very quickly.
As if Tinseltown needed any brighter of a spotlight, the Lakers, one of the NBA's marquee franchises, had hitched their wagon to a high schooler. And Jerry West wasn't backing down.
He can go get a shot for himself anytime he wants.
Even in the NBA, he'll be able to create shots.
Yes, he will. Yes, he will. Yes, he will.
Kobe seemed like the perfect fit in LA, both on and off the court.
We've heard reports that you guys are dating, or you're, is it?
We went to the prom together. Did you hear that? Probably. Hear that? Yeah, he'll always be my date.
Since then?
Yeah.
Oh, how do you describe the relationship? I don't mean to.
Very friendly relationship. That girl.
What'd you say? What'd you tell
It's
me?
a very friendly relationship.
Now let's get to the hard-hitting questions. All right, now when you go out, who does the driving?
Usually when Kobe comes pick me up at my house, he has a limo. He's like all up there, like, I have to impress this girl. So he comes with a limo and drinks in the limo, Cokes, Sprite, whatever you want. He has it all prepared. You work at that? It's working.
The City of Angels had a gift from the basketball gods. Kobe Bryant anchored the Lakers organization for 20 years, helping deliver 5 championships while becoming a global icon. With a legacy that will live forever, despite his life being cut short tragically at the age of 41. It all traces back to one summer, one workout, one GM who saw what nobody else could. The kid who grew up speaking Italian, who showed up to draft night worried about a pimple, who had an agent manipulating numerous teams. He became one of the greatest ever, all because Another legend trusted what he saw.
What can I say? Mamba out.